This is Dr. Daly. I'm the Regional EMS Medical Director for the Hudson Mohawk region in New York. And this is a PowerPoint discussing cardiac arrest care, caring for the living. One of the things we need to do, particularly in these times of COVID-19, is have strategies to discuss cardiac arrest resuscitation with families and performing death notification with families. There's some things that absolutely need to be true. One, we need to be empathic and we need to be objective. We need to make sure that we speak in people language. We don't want to speak in paramedic or medicine. People don't know what asystole is. People don't know what ventricular fibrillation is. What they know is that a patient could get shocked or can't get shocked. They know that a patient's heart isn't beating. Make sure to speak as simply as you can and as clearly as you can without speaking down to anybody. Deliver the message that you would want to hear. Sometimes this is very difficult, but if possible, try to assure that children aren't present, because the process of cardiac arrest resuscitation is very difficult for families and very hard for children to understand. We use the mnemonic death. There are other mnemonics available out there, and frankly, some of them are very good. But because of the urgency and the timeliness of what we need to do in order to learn this during the time of COVID-19, we're going to use death, which we're breaking down into determine, educate, affirm, tell, and help. The D is for determine. Determine who the patient is by name and refer to them by name throughout your discussions with the family and friends. Determine if there will be resuscitation at all. If the patient presents an asystole, we may not initiate a resuscitation in accordance with the Department of Health protocol issued on April 17th. Determine who the people around are and what their understanding and comfort with death is. If they don't speak English, please try to find a translator other than a child if possible, so that they can understand exactly what has happened and what we are going to do to help them. We're going to educate about who you are and who's on the team. As soon as you get there, do this as soon as you possibly can, because what it does is it provides the foundation for the rest of your conversations. Make sure the family members know exactly what's going on. Mrs. Jones' heart has stopped. Right now, what we're doing is we're doing compressions to try to get her heart started again. We've looked at her heart rhythm, and there's no electrical activity in the heart, and the heart's not beating on its own. Educate. Fill in as much as you can while the resuscitation is going on. Affirm what's going on. Make sure that the family knows that the person is profoundly sick, that their heart is stopped, that they are gravely ill. Make sure that they know that earlier in the resuscitation, before everybody in the room is sure of what's happening. The earlier you can affirm the situation, the more likely you are to remove false hope, and that when it's time to terminate resuscitation, the family will be more prepared for that news, even though the news is not what they want. Tell. When the time has come to terminate efforts, state the facts clearly and with empathy and compassion. Refer to the patient by name. Mr. Smith has died. Mrs. Jones is dead. Don't use phrases like passed on or in a better place, because while these seem kinder, they instill confusion. Telling people that their loved one is dead or that their loved one has died leaves no opportunity for confusion. Everyone will process information like this differently. Some people will be silent. Some will cry. Some may scream. All of these are fine, but if the behavior of the people appears to be placing EMS in danger, evacuate and call law enforcement. Placing EMS in danger is never okay. then we help. Helping is what we do naturally. Now you're going to help the survivors. There's been great disruption in their household. Rearrange furniture if you moved it. Clean up trash. Cover the patient with a blanket. Ask what you can do for the family. Explain any tubes or lines that have been placed. All of these things will help the family that's now going to be faced with their dead loved one in that household. Work with law enforcement to know exactly what the steps are in your jurisdiction, because each is going to be different. In some cases, the scene may be held secure by a police officer. In others, a coroner may just come and collect the body. But make sure to know what your jurisdictional requirements are. Help the family transition. Our goal, remember, is return of spontaneous circulation and any cardiac arrest that we start resuscitation on. So if you get ROSC, return of spontaneous circulation, and you're going to transport that patient to the hospital, please make sure that the family still has a chance to say goodbye. The perfect time to do this is while you're assuring the patient's stability and packaging them for the move to the ambulance. Make sure the family says goodbye, because they're not going to be able to come along in this time of COVID-19. There won't be the ability for them to visit the patient in the hospital. Each provider is going to be very different in terms of how they talk to families. There's no single right or wrong answer, but some are much wronger than others. Don't say, "I know how you feel." Don't pretend to cry. Don't say things like, "He was a great man," because you don't know who this person was. But what you can be is sorry and be sincere. Compassion and empathy are the things that should guide us. Death. Hopefully the mnemonic helps. But remember, you need to allow yourself to grieve. No one came into EMS to pronounce people dead. People came into EMS to save lives. But remember, each time somebody dies, you perform that resuscitation, and then you care for the living. You're helping them transition. And helping the living when we can no longer help the dead is profoundly important. Don't forget the good that you are doing by working with the survivors. Recognize that these are new and scary times with COVID-19. Support each other. Talk to your crew. Talk to your family. Talk to your friends. Understand how each of you are processing the changes that are happening with our practice. Medicine is not the same as it was 2 months ago, and it won't be the same 2 months from now. When the resuscitation's over, we've got to care for all of the living, the family, the witnesses, us, our families. Make sure to take care of yourselves and your families, please. Bottom line, wash your hands, maintain social distancing, hang in there, and absolutely stay safe. Thank you.